Good morning, everyone. Just going to wait a few more seconds for people to finish coming in for now, and then we will start. All right, let's start now with the introduction of today's webinar. So this is another webinar in the DestinE platform service series of webinar. Today we have Eden, and the subject of today's webinar is unlocking Earth observation data for research and innovation. I'm Diego Domenici from Trust IT Services. We are the comms and support provider for the DestinE joint website and support the implementation of the DestinE and DestinE platform webinars. I will be walking you through a very, very short introduction and the agenda for today. Oh, there's a bad echo of my voice. Does that apply to everyone else? Simone, Barbara? No? Okay. Uh, sorry, Peter, might be a problem on your side. So let's get started with a short agenda. So we have a very short introduction by myself right now. I will then be handing the floor over to Barbara Scarda from Cerco, who is one of the providers for the DestinE platform itself, to present the DestinE platform and the opportunities that lie within, as well, plus data service as well. And then I'll be passing the floor to our colleagues from MEEO, Simone Mantovani, as well as Alessia Catozzo and the PhD student from University of Ferrara, Riccardo Ratta, to present the Eden service, how it works with the access to data infrastructure and how it enhances Earth observation data accessibility. Riccardo specifically will be presenting a use case from the community, which is his work as a PhD student on GPU training pilot activity. After which we will open the floor to your questions. And we will then move to a very short survey at the end of this webinar. Speaking of, I have a very short housekeeping slide. The webinar, as you probably know, is being recorded, so feel free to anonymize your name if you don't want to appear. This recording, together with the slides, will then be made publicly available on the DestinE Platform Learning Hub and will also be sent to you as a registrant once it is made available. Feel free to introduce yourselves and tell us what you're working on in the chat and why this service is of interest to you. You can also use the chat to ask questions. As I said, we have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of this webinar, so we will try to answer as many questions as we can at that point. I will also say in this webinar, we have two short surveys to understand the needs and interest in the service. We have one at the beginning, which I will start shortly, which is questions to you in terms of what kind of data you use and how you access data. And then we have a question, short survey near the end, which is related to the Eden service, asking you about what you think is interesting about the service and how you could potentially use it to enhance your current data accessibility processes. So without further ado, thank you for your time. I will now stop sharing for a moment, and I will start the first survey. There we go. Should have started. I'm just going to let everyone have a minute or so that you can fill out the survey. So thank you already in advance for doing that. After which I will pass the floor, as I said already, to Barbara. So if you could just take 1 minute of your time to answer the survey, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, so we have about half of the participant responses in now. I'm going to leave the survey open just for another minute or so. In the meanwhile, though, I think I can pass the floor over to Barbara. So, Barbara, to present the DestinE platform, feel free to go ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll share the presentation. Okay. Can you see it in presentation mode?
Yes.
So good morning, everyone. Thanks to Diego for the introduction, and thanks to you all for joining this DestinE platform webinar. My name is Barbara Scarda, and I work for Cerco. We are under a contract with ESA to implement and operate the platform together with an industrial consortium. So before handing over to the colleagues from partner MEEO and the user who's been invited to talk about his experience with the service, I'll take just a few minutes to introduce the DestinE platform. So the Destination Earth initiative of the European Commission is set to develop a digital replica of the Earth, and it has three core components which are being developed by 3 entrusted entities. Now, the platform is one of these components, and it's implemented by the European Space Agency. It is, in fact, the entry point to DestinE. It's designed to provide access to an ecosystem of services that support evidence-based decision-making by tackling global challenges, that is to turn data into climate and environmental actions using advanced technologies. And it's built for a broad community that includes scientists, academia, but also policymakers and citizens. Now let's go quickly through the user journey on the platform, which depends on your user type. So the first step is for users to join the platform. And by joining, you can find general information. You can register following a standard process to access a number of selected services. You can find help in the support section and contact us directly. And from support, you can follow the links to the Learning Hub and the public roadmap, which we'll see in a bit. A bit more in detail, you can click on services, you can browse through the catalog of all the available applications and tools, you can filter them by category and find relevant documentation on each service page. On the Learning Hub, you can find a series of educational material that includes, for example, under training, the services video tutorials. In particular, you will find a video tutorial for Eden, which is a step-by-step guide on how to use the service graphical user interface. And also the recording of this webinar will be published in the relevant webinar section. And on the Learning Hub, we will also find the demonstrators, some interactive tools that also include climate games and other resources. And I had mentioned the public roadmap. This is where you can find a list of recently released features, upcoming functionalities, and most importantly, ideas for improvements suggested by the user community. This is part of our effort to stay transparent and make sure the DestinE platform evolves based on real user input. Now, once you've joined as an expert user, you're ready to engage with the platform's advanced services. Under the DestinE data portfolio in the About section, you can learn all about the DestinE digital twins and browse the list of services on the platform that provide access to DestinE data. And in order to use these services that enable you to download DestinE digital twin data, you need to apply for upgraded access. So after signing in, just go to your profile in Access Policy Upgrade and complete the form. Here you have the list of eligible categories. Another category of users on the DestinE platform are the contributors, therefore external service providers who wish to onboard their services on the platform for extended visibility, to join the community, and they also have the possibility to benefit from our cloud infrastructure. There is a dedicated section on the web portal where to find all relevant information and the process in place for onboarding. And now concluding, we invite you to be part of the DestinE platform community based on your experience, and follow us on the web portal for news and on our LinkedIn page for the latest updates. And for the future, we will keep adding new services and new datasets with more and more innovative features and capabilities with the aim to keep developing the ecosystem. So that wraps it up. If you have any questions, feel free to ask now in the chat or get in touch with us later from the Contact Us form. I'll hand it over to Alessia from MEEO now. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Alessia Catosso, Project Manager at MEEO, which is obviously the company responsible for developing and managing the Eden service. I'm joined today by Simone Mantovani, which is Managing Director and Project Manager for the Eden service, and Riccardo Ratta, who is a PhD student at the University of Ferrara, who has been collaborating with us over these years for his research activities. Together, we coordinate the service activities, and we are pleased today to walk you through the service. I'm sharing my screen. You should see it right now, right?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Alessia.
So let's start. Within the DestinE service platform, Eden is designed to support data access in a broad and flexible way. In particular, our service provides 3 complementary modes of access. First of all, access to native data, which is federated from various data sources, which I'm going to disclose in a while. Access to cloud-optimized data, specifically in cloud-optimized GeoTIFF format, which we generate and index within a dedicated storage layer known as cache. And finally, access through standard interfaces and catalogs, such as OpenSearch and Web Map Service, which ensure interoperability and ease of integration into any existing workflow. This multi-layered approach allows Eden to adapt to different user needs, from direct data exploitation to integration into analytical environments. And all datasets are brought together into a single unified portfolio, which is accessible through one consistent entry point, which is our harmonized data access API. The service can be engaged both through user-friendly application, the Finder, but also programmatically by calling our harmonized data access APIs or using the publicly documented WMS endpoints. Here, just to give you a concrete example, the video illustrates the journey for accessing data through the Finder. We start from the service page or we navigate directly to the URL. And once we are authenticated, we can browse collections, preview the products via WMS where available, and we can add the datasets to the cart. And from there, we can download them as many times as we need. Alternatively, this is our Swagger page, which provides the comprehensive documentation of all our APIs. Once again, we authenticate using a token, and we can invoke the APIs directly from this interface, or we can integrate them into the analytical workflow. And last but not least, these are the OpenSearch catalog and the WMS endpoint that we provide, which enable the standardized and interoperable access to the data. Don't be scared. This diagram provides an overview of how Eden is structured and operates. On the left, we can see the native data sources, which are federated through the adapters, which are essentially Python scripts that translate the specific access mechanism of each source into the unified standardized approach handled by the broker. Among the sources, the primary one is obviously DestinE Data Lake, managed by EUMETSAT. But in addition, we also federate Sentinel data from Copernicus data space ecosystem, as well as some Eurostat data. And we will be soon integrating also Highway, which will further expand the range of accessible datasets. In addition to the native data sources, we have the internal data layer I previously mentioned, the cache. This is where the processing pipelines index and transform the data we ingest from various missions, and they are made accessible in cloud-optimized format. All of this is exposed through the broker, which is the central component interfacing both with machine-to-machine services and user-friendly applications. Downstream, the service is integrated with the core service of the DestinE service platform, obviously, such as the identity and access management and the accounting. But it also supports other fellow DestinE platform services, such as DIA, Insula, and VisLab, that rely on our data access and visualization capabilities for their own purposes. Here is a brief overview of our catalog, which at present includes nearly 60 datasets. As you can see, they are primarily focused on satellite data and climate indicators, though the portfolio is not limited to these domains. And a key highlight is the climate adaptation simulations produced by the European Centre for Medium-Range Weather Forecast, which, of course, represents one of the flagship data offering within our portfolio. And this is why we have striven to include them into our cloud-optimized data offer. These are the datasets that we index and expose via OpenSearch and OGC services. This data offering is continuously evolving as through our processing pipelines. Every new available data from the source is progressively transformed and made accessible, maintaining a rolling archive of approximately 1 year from the most recently available date. It's also worth noting that these pipelines have been recently updated for optimization. So we are currently in the process of progressively backfilling and cleaning the catalog, ensuring consistency and improving the overall quality of the datasets. So you may see double datasets in the catalog for this reason. In the coming months, Eden will also introduce a couple of tenancy services. Web coverage service standard, which provides access to coverage data in formats compatible with client-side rendering. This allows to retrieve only the imagery relevant to your need by drawing a spatial subset on the map and then adding the corresponding file to the cart and downloading it. And of course, this ensures efficient and targeted use of resources and quota. Functionally, from the user perspective, this will appear just as a new icon in the Finder's product interface, and WCS will have its own dedicated catalog of endpoints similar to the WMS. On the right, we have AI ML downscaling, which will allow to generate super resolved Sentinel-2 and GOMI2 imagery for specific areas and time of interest. You will be also able to index the generated data into a private collection for further analysis or integration into your own workflow. Just to give you an idea of what we will be working on in the next few months, this is our coming roadmap. In April, we will focus on integration with the IWE to provide the discover and the access service to first selection of the datasets. We will enable the WCS tenancy, and we will also support data DTA hydrology activities by delivering 3 data cubes, one for high resolution data, one for monthly data, and one for the monthly anomalies. While in May, we will continue the federation with highway, but focusing more on enabling visualization and adding more datasets, of course. We will enable the second tenancy service. And finally, looking further ahead, in June, we will deliver the spatiotemporal asset catalog standard interface for our APIs. We will make available the second digital twin developed and delivered by ECMWF activities, the weather-induced extremes DT, both as a native dataset, but also in cloud-optimized format. And the federation with highway will move on with more datasets. And obviously, there is more in the sense that we always keep maintaining and improving and bug fixing our components. So the next week, probably we will have our next release with minor fine-tuning and improvements. Moving on to another topic, besides the fellow services in DestinE service platform that I mentioned before, over these years, Eden has also supported some external initiatives that you can see here in this slide. Of course, each one has or had its specific sources of data, but in all cases, Eden has been leveraged to access global or European existing data, both in native and cloud-optimized format for the research purposes of each initiative, which, for example, in the case of data space for Earth system, was to create a data node for Earth system data to support the Italian research community. IRIDE Cyber Italy instead focuses on developing an Italian digital twin for environmental risk. And finally, DT hydrology is rather focused on developing a digital twin, yes, but for hydrogeological risk. Focusing on Duster, here is an example of a dashboard developed by the data scientists working on the project, relying on CAMS and Sentinel-5B pollutants data, both in native and cloud-optimized format, which have been leveraged to create this heat map and an air quality index over Europe. And additionally, this dashboard showcasing the various pollutants present in the Sentinel-3 dataset has been made available leveraging our WMS endpoint. Finally, over these years, we have also carried out a pilot activity leveraging the GPU resources made available by the DestinE platform for research purposes. And here I leave the floor to my colleague Riccardo to go further into detail.
Thank you, Alessia. I'm Riccardo Ratta, PhD student at the University of Ferrara, and we are collaborating with MEEO with this Come2 Super Resolution project. I'll ask you if you can go to the next slide. Thank you. So NO2, also called nitrogen dioxide, is a toxic gas, and it's mainly produced by traffic, power plants, and all the human activity that use some sort of combustion. And also several studies links this nitrogen dioxide to an increase in mortality. And it is one of the best pollutant that we can observe from space. And on the bottom, we see an example of Sentinel-5P observation of Turkey in this case. Next slide, please. And so the idea was to take a low resolution old product of NO2 and use some AI magic, as I call. Basically, it is a residual dense network to produce a high quality high resolution map. Next slide, please. So we utilized two different instruments. One it is the Tropomi, which is the detector on Sentinel-5P, which has a nominal resolution of 7 by 3.5 kilometers, and it is operational since 2018. And the idea was to use this high quality, high resolution observation from Tropomi and use this observation to super resolve or get a better observation from an older satellite, which is GOMI2, that is on METOP A, B, and C, which has a very coarse resolution of 80 by 40 kilometer. But most important, it is operational since 2007. Also note that they have a different overpass time. Next slide, please. One of the idea of this project was to actually being able to observe at past data, which is used in a lot of long-term studies, and see if it was able to get a better data of the past analysis. And also, in this way, we could have a global coverage of NO2 concentration up to 3 daily global observation compared to just one with Tropomi. Thank you. Next slide. This is an example of our work. So on the left, we have the original GOMI2 data. Then we have the super resolved data out of our network. And then we have the Tropomi of the same day. And this is both a case of, this is an example of 2 different days in 2024 year. And yeah, you can see that data is reproduced in a high resolution. But of course, we need also a way to measure if the output of the model is good in any way, aside from beautiful images. Next slide, please. And so we are also using a network of spectrometers, ground spectrometers, which is called the Pandonia Global Network. And we are using more than 100 stations to validate our results. And initial analysis we shown that we have a reduction both in the root mean square error and an increase in correlation with compared to the original GOMI2 data. And we plan to make this data available through Eden in the near future. Thank you. If you have any question, please. I don't know if it is the time.
So that concludes, I believe, the end of the presentations. I saw that Tibor already asked a question to which Simone has answered. Perhaps this is a good time if people have before people have other questions, or if they can go, you can go ahead already and type them in the chat, and we'll get to them shortly. I think this is now a good time to launch our second short poll for this webinar. So if you will just bear with me for one moment. This one will ask you a little bit more in detail about what you think of the Eden service currently. I won't spoil the questions for you as I'm about to launch it anyways. So if you could all please take just another minute of your time to answer, we will then move to the Q&A section of the webinar. So you should now see the second survey. Feel free to have a go at that. I see already there was, in fact, the question was indeed on a potential additional data set. Interesting to see if other people are also interested in that same data set or others. So also to improve, the service going forward, we're very, very much interested in seeing what people think. So please take a minute to fill it out, and then we will move to the Q&A session. Thank you all. Excellent, excellent. Good to see some answers coming in already. Maybe in the meanwhile, I can also ask Simone and Alessia if they can offer a clarification on what is the current data access policy for the Eden service.
Shall I go, Simone?
Yes, go please.
Okay. As a general principle, data is really accessible, provided authentication through the DestinE platform identity and access management. So once you have your user registered, and you authenticate either via token programmatically or through the IAM interface for the Finder, you are good to go. There is, though, an exception made for the climate adaptation and the coming digital twin models made available by ACMWF, because it's sensitive data after all for Europe. So an additional access role is needed, which can be obtained through the DestinE platform.
I see. And just bouncing off of that, so that's for data, for the access to the data. What about the retention? What is the current data retention policy?
Retention applies obviously just to our own data stored in the cache, because as for native data retrieved by the adapters, the full catalog is made available. The full data offer made available by the native data source is made available by ourselves as well. There is no constraint in that regard. As for our cache, there is a 1-year retention policy with a rolling archive set up, meaning that from the latest data available, the data will date back to 1 year before.
So this is the standard, but in case
you
need to conserve it for more than 1 year, is there a way to do that? Is there like a way to extend the data?
I mean, this applies to our cache, but through the API or the OZC standards and endpoint, users are free to access and move the data to their own workflow, to their own storage.
Yes, and if I may complement on this, because of the nature of the DestinE ecosystem as a whole, there is this user feedback gathering, collection and gathering that might drive, let's say, a different retention policy. Or also, it is the case of the question that I was answering in the chat. Today, the hidden service is connected to what the federated sources are within a destination Earth, but we also have additional sources that are going to be exposed. But again, that decision is a joint effort that we do together with the service manager and the overall ecosystem. So sure, there is a possibility to be discussed and assessed with the within the consortium.
I see, and I think we have a question off of this actually that I'm not sure whether Simone or Barbara could clarify, because Amber is wondering these processes for storing data, like where is the data stored exactly, in the DestinE data lake in Eden or elsewhere?
I go first, and then Barbara, feel free to complement. I think that it was a challenge to present, let's say, in the limited time, what Eden is about. But let's try to clarify that data are distributed. Eden is connected to the destination Earth data lake, and we rely on the data availability of the data lake as a data source. So as soon as new datasets and collection are added, these are also made available through Eden. And there are, changes in the data offering coming from the data lake. Then there are other data sources. The Copernicus data space ecosystem is another one. The climate data store is another one, and so on. On top of this, there is what we call the Eden Cache service, that is a place to handle additional data sets or to convert these and made available this data, or at least it's one of the options. No? So what we do during this internal discussion is to align with the data providers, because if it fits the extension of the data offer of the data lake, we will push the extension in that direction. Or if it fits more another one or the Eden local one, we do select that part. Okay. In any case, I think also worth saying that Eden and most of the components of the DestinE ecosystem are deployed in the so-called DestinE runtime platform. So the cloud is providing, the storage for the data as well as the computational resources to instantiate the services. In short, data and services are close each other to optimize data latency and data access on behalf of the users.
Thank you, Simone. Barbara, anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, and I'm just adding in the chat the link to the data cache management service, which is the local archive on the platform, accessed through the Insula service. So they might complement.
I see. So and before I close the survey, so we have 9 answers, which is a good start. If anyone else would like to add, please do, as I will close it in just a minute. I want to go back to what you mentioned briefly, Simone, which is, when it comes to data providers, right? Of course, as a service provider and as users, it's clear to us where the value is. But what would you say, to potential data providers? Like, where's the value of bringing the data from a project or from from your database into the DestinE system? And this is also potentially a question for Barbara as well, but maybe you can start.
I start maybe with a more technical view on the question. So we know that we are living in a in an era where several infrastructures and clouds exist, Eden is already providing a solution to exploit data that are distributed in several and remote infrastructures. That is a plus, because if we need to mirror or duplicate the data, at least there is an option to avoid this. Okay, because data mirroring, I think, is a discussion item that it goes in the direction. So we have to support the world that is distributed by data provider, but which is the value if you decide to use the DestinE platform as a data source for your data and products, that you start moving your data close to other data. And because most of the application, I think, again, the question in the chat about the Hydro Atlas is an evidence for that. The closer they are, the different data that you need for your application, the better it is for you. No, a single interface, a single data format. So the homogenization and the harmonization of the data is one of the technical benefits that you can have, plus all the rest that is supported by the scalable cloud services offered by the DestinE platform.
That's fair. And Matteo Colombini just asked, first of all, are these datasets compatible with ECMW's Anemoi framework? And since the computing infrastructure is distributed, is there current effort to train ML models in a federated way?
I don't know, maybe Riccardo, that is an AI/ML expert, might have some knowledge about ECMWF Anemoi that I do not have. But I just give you, let's say, a preliminary answer on this, because for sure another benefit of moving the data and aligning with the DestinE ecosystem is that data in their conversion into a cloud native data format is also supporting AI/ML cases. I think there are other initiatives that are generating AI/ML ready data that they can be connected to the DestinE ecosystem. Earlier, Alessia was mentioning Highway, that is another ESA digital twin component initiative that is exactly transforming data in the so-called ARCO, Analysis-Ready Cloud-Optimised data format, which will support the boost of development of AI/ML applications. But I think is again a shared effort among different entities and initiatives, and DestinE is also working in that direction.
Thank you, Simone. That's clear. I want to move now for a moment to Riccardo as a user. You spoke about making sure that the data and the images are not just pretty images, as you said. For the current validation process, would you say that there are any issues or limitations in how it currently works, or would you say that it's a pretty finished method?
Well, we are still doing our true validation, in the sense that we are looking at similar and related work and see how this data validated in the research community. And one gold standard is indeed the Pandonia Global Network. I say that as far as we can see, there is simply an improvement in correlation and error. So there are basically not not any bad sides, let's say, of this data, because it doesn't change dramatically the initial input from the sensor. So is a pretty safe migration, let's call it. Yeah. So it's an improvement. Basically.
That's fair. And as a method, do you think this could also be applied to other kinds of atmospheric pollutants? Like how much effort would be required to change that kind of monitoring?
That is a bit more complicated because the issue is that other pollutants are not as easy to detect from satellite instruments. So the issue is that the original data is not as good as nitrogen dioxide. So it will be more challenging for sure.
Okay, I see. And one final question from my side, going back to if we think big picture for a second, one of the things that DestinE tries to bring to the table is, of course, predictive and then, future climate modeling, but also the ability to, monitor in real time atmospheric and climate conditions. Do you think that this could also be used for real time monitoring, or is it better for detailed analysis of past conditions?
So the fact is that yes, can be used also for not only for past monitoring or past study, but also yes, in this way you have multiple observation over the globe. So maybe you are studying an area which is not in Europe or in another region which is not covered by other instruments. And so this will give you a possibility of observing that area not only through POMI, but also through this enhanced GOMI2 version.
I see. That's fantastic. And the service really each service that we've done a webinar for each detailed showcase that we've done has always been very, very interesting. But it's nice to see, I mean, for me at least as a non-technical person, to see the level of detail and intricacy that really goes into providing these analysis. So thank you all very much for being here. I don't see any more questions in the chat, so I think we can maybe close a little bit early unless anyone else wants to add anything, or if there are any questions that come in last second. If not, and feel free to speak up if there is anything you want to add. If not, thank you both to the panelists and for the audience for being here today. We have gotten some answers, which is great. We will analyze them, and as I said previously, the results will be then shared on the DestinE Learning Hub. And the results and also the recording itself will be shared. So thank you again so much for being here. It's been a great webinar, and we hope to see you at the future webinars and future events. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.